The sun was setting, casting a warm golden glow over the landscape as Prince Deji rode away from the humble village where he had found love and faced immeasurable loss. His heart was heavy, not just with grief for Abimbala, but with the uncertainty that lay ahead. In his arms, his little baby slept peacefully, unaware of the storm of emotions raging within her father. As the countryside rolled by, Deji's thoughts were consumed with worry. How would his people receive his daughter? They would wonder how he had come to have a child without a mother. Tongues would wag, and whispers of scandal would circulate. His chiefs in council might see him as a man without integrity, a king who had fathered a child out of wedlock. The weight of his responsibilities and the fear of judgment pressed heavily on him. Before leaving the town finally, Deji remembered Abimbala's friend, Alero, whom she had introduced to him some time ago. He decided to visit her, hoping to find some solace and perhaps a solution. He made his way through the narrow, winding streets until he reached Alero's modest home. Deji knocked on the door, and after a moment, it was opened by Alero herself. She was carrying a newborn baby girl and looked both surprised and curious to see Deji standing there with a baby in his arms. "Prince Deji!" Alero exclaimed, her eyes wide with shock. "What brings you here? And whose baby is that?" Deji's eyes filled with sorrow. "Alero, I have come with heavy news. Abimbala, she has passed away. This is our daughter." Alero gasped, tears welling up in her eyes. "Oh no, not Abimbala. She was so full of life. I can't believe she's gone. And this beautiful child." Deji nodded, his voice thick with emotion. "Yes. She fell ill and died shortly after giving birth. I've been at the palace, caring for my father who was gravely ill, and by the time I returned, it was too late." Alero wiped her tears, looking at the baby girl in Deji's arms. "Come inside, please." As they entered the house, Deji noticed the signs of recent mourning. Alero had lost her husband 3 months ago, and she had just given birth to a baby girl as well. The two babies, now lying side by side, seemed destined to be connected in more ways than one. "I'm so sorry for your loss, Alero," Deji said, his voice gentle. "I can see you have also been through a lot." Alero nodded, her eyes still glistening. "Thank you, Deji. It has been hard, but we must carry on for the sake of our children." They sat down, and for a moment, there was silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Alero spoke up. "What will you do now, Deji? How will you care for this baby with all your duties as king?" Deji sighed heavily. "That is why I came to you, Alero. I need your help. I fear that bringing the baby back to the palace will cause more harm than good. The people, the council, they will question her legitimacy and my integrity. I want to do right by my daughter, but I don't know how. Alero looked at the two babies, a thoughtful expression on her face. They are of the same age. Perhaps I could care for the baby alongside my own daughter. They could grow up as sisters, and you could send money for their upkeep. When the time is right, you can come for her. Deji felt a glimmer of hope. Do you truly think that would work? Alero nodded. Yes. I will love her as my own, and she will have a sister to grow up with. When she is 18, you can come for her, and she will be ready to take her place by your side. Deji's heart ached at the thought of leaving his daughter, but he knew it was the best decision for her. Thank you, Alero. You are a true friend. Please, take care of her and give her all the love she deserves. And name her in my absence. Alero smiled gently. I will name her Arenola, which means joy of wealth, because she is the joy that came from such a sorrowful situation. Deji kissed his daughter's forehead, a tear falling onto her soft skin. Arenola. It's a beautiful name. I will miss you, my little one, but I will be back for you. I promise. With a heavy heart, Deji handed the baby, now Arenola, to Alero. As he prepared to leave, Alero spoke once more. Take care, Deji. We will be here, waiting for your return. And may the spirits guide you and protect you always. Deji nodded, his heart filled with gratitude and sorrow. He mounted his horse and began the journey back to his land, leaving a part of his heart behind. The road ahead was uncertain, but he knew he had made the best choice for his daughter's future. As he rode away, he whispered to himself, I will return, Arenola. I will return. Thus, Deji continued his journey, burdened with the pain of separation but fortified by the promise of a future reunion. The tale of Deji, Abimbala, and their daughter Arenola became a story of love, loss, and hope that would be told for generations in the kingdom. And so, the legend grew, weaving a tapestry of human emotion and resilience that would inspire and teach the people for years to come. It had been a week since Deji left his precious daughter, Arenola, with Alero. The decision weighed heavily on him, but he believed he had done what was best for his daughter. Back in her modest home, Alero cared for the two newborns, her own daughter and Deji's, now both lying in the same crib. She received a generous amount of money from Deji for their upkeep, enough to ensure they would live comfortably. As the days passed, different thoughts began to run through Alero's mind. The money Deji sent was substantial, more than she had ever imagined having, but she couldn't help but think about the future. This was a lifetime opportunity for her and her daughter to become even more than just well-off. They could become royalty. One evening, as she rocked the babies to sleep, Alero's mind was consumed by a sinister idea. What if she swapped the babies? She could name her own daughter Arenola and name Deji's daughter Eniola. When Deji eventually returned, the wrong child would be given to him, and her own daughter would become the heir to the throne. The temptation of such power and wealth was too strong to resist. The next morning, As the sun rose and filled the room with its golden light, Alero made her decision. She looked at the two sleeping babies, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. "Alero," she whispered to herself, "you have to do this. It's for your daughter's future. She deserves the best." With a deep breath, she gently picked up Deji's daughter and placed her in the crib where her own daughter had been lying. She then took her own daughter and placed her where Deji's daughter had been. It was a simple swap, but it would change their lives forever. She looked down at the babies, her resolve hardening. "From now on, you are Arenola," she said, looking at her own daughter. "And you," she added, turning to Deji's daughter, "you are Iniola." Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The babies grew, and with them, Alero's deceit became deeply rooted. She sent regular updates to Deji, telling him about the progress of his daughter, who was now living under the name Iniola. The money continued to flow in, and Alero used it to give both girls the best of everything: education, clothing, and a comfortable life. Years passed, and Arenola and Iniola grew into beautiful young ladies, loved by all who knew them. They believed they were siblings and were inseparable. Alero's plan had worked perfectly, and she was now living a life of comfort and affluence. One sunny afternoon, Arenola and Iniola were sitting in the garden, laughing and enjoying each other's company. They were the epitome of sisterly love, unaware of the secrets that lay between them. "Iniola, do you ever wonder about our future?" Arenola asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Iniola smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Sometimes. But as long as we're together, I'm happy. You and Mama mean everything to me." Alero, who was watching them from the kitchen window, felt a pang of guilt. She had done what she thought was best for her daughter, but seeing the genuine love between the two girls made her question her actions for a moment. She quickly pushed the doubt aside, reassuring herself that she had made the right choice. That evening, as the girls prepared for bed, Alero sat down with them for their nightly story. She had always been a storyteller, weaving tales of adventure and bravery. Tonight, however, her mind was elsewhere. "Mama," Arenola said, noticing her mother's distraction, "are you all right?" Alero snapped out of her thoughts and smiled. "Yes, my dear. Just a bit tired." Now, where were we in our story? Iniola leaned in, her eyes wide with excitement. The prince was about to rescue the princess from the dragon. Alero nodded, beginning the tale, but her mind kept wandering back to the day she had swapped the babies. She had achieved what she wanted, wealth and a promising future for her daughter, but at what cost? As the years continued to pass, the bond between Arenola and Iniola grew stronger. They were inseparable, sharing dreams and supporting each other through every challenge. They excelled in their studies, and their beauty and grace were admired by everyone in the village. Despite the happiness around her, Alero couldn't escape the shadow of her actions. She had succeeded in her deceit, but she lived in constant fear that the truth would one day be revealed. She watched as Arenola and Iniola blossomed into young women, their futures bright and full of promise, but her heart was never fully at ease. One day, as the girls were preparing to leave for a festival in the nearby town, Alero sat them down for a talk. "Girls, there's something I need to tell you," she began, her voice trembling slightly. Aranola and Eniola looked at her with concern. "What is it, Mama?" Eniola asked. Alero took a deep breath. "I want you both to know how much I love you. No matter what happens, remember that." Aranola reached out and took her mother's hand. "We know, Mama. We love you too." Alero smiled, tears welling up in her eyes. "Go and enjoy the festival, my loves. Be safe and look out for each other." As the girls left, Alero watched them go, a sense of dread settling in her heart. She had built a life on lies, and the fear of it all unraveling grew stronger with each passing day. She knew that one day, the truth might come to light, but for now, she would continue to protect the secret that had given her daughter the life she believed she deserved. Thus, Aranola and Eniola continued to grow, blissfully unaware of the dark secret that lay at the heart of their lives. The tale of love, deceit, and destiny would continue, weaving its intricate patterns and setting the stage for a future where the truth might finally emerge. And so, the story of Deji, Abimbala, Aranola, and Eniola unfolded, with each chapter adding to the rich tapestry of their intertwined fates. He would be coming to take his daughter back to his kingdom. Alero was surprised and at the same confused. The time has come to get the inheritance she so desired. All her effort cannot go to waste, it was time.